Two guys, one mic. Welcome in, everybody, to post Cowboys practice. It just ended, and while other people are chasing players around for audio, we are going to break down what happened at practice. Hi, Brian Broaddus from 105.3 The Fan. How are you?
Doing well, Jeffrey. Thank you. Thank you for watching practice with me today. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, we had a great time. Should I hold the mic the whole time?
Yeah,
or should I just hold it like this?
Yeah, that's fine. It's all good.
How is everyone? Feel free to fire questions at us if you want. Otherwise, we'll just talk about our observations from practice. And let me make sure that my mic is working. Everything's working. Yeah, I hope so. I need comments up. Bam. Let me know that my audio is working. We scrambled to set this up. I got notes. Where's your notes?
I left them in my they're in my head, but they're in my radio position. So yeah, just ask questions. I mean, what'd you see today? What'd you see?
I want to start with Mazi Smith. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, no, it's not a problem at all. No, I mean, the thing about with Mazi, it's going to be, it's funny because today, if you want to be honest with how the nose tackles are playing, he's the third nose tackle. I think Carl Davis is playing better than him right now. I kind of feel like though Justin Rogers is playing better than him right now. It's been a struggle for him. It really, really has. And it's, I'm not trying to beat up on him and stuff, but they're working really hard on his technique. They're trying to get him to be, to be able to have a stronger base. He's a strong guy. I'd love for him to have some pass rush moves to his ability. And because I've seen Rogers do that today, a couple different times. I was down on the other end of the field watching the young guys go one-on-one, and Rogers is one of those guys that all of a sudden you're watching him and he's breaking down BB and he's arm over. He's trying to rip. He's trying to grab. I mean, he's trying to use pass rush moves. And Carl Davis kind of the same way, and Mazi's all about power. And there was a couple of times down here down in the final red zone where it was Golston and Mazi, and what happened there. I mean, they ran the ball right up inside there and where we get a touchdown. So it's kind of been a little bit of a struggle for him overall.
And the way that happened was funny because I was standing there with you and we were watching the practice, and the Cowboys offense decided to run in their ones against the defensive backups, and then they scored in the red zone. And so Mike Zimmer was like, that's cool. Wait until your backups get in. And then he put in the starting defense, and the backup offensive line beat the Cowboys starting defensive tackles for a rushing touchdown. So like, defensive tackle is probably going to be a trouble spot that they might have to do something about. And so I intentionally went over to, you have to decide how you're going to approach practice each day. And yesterday it was just kind of chase stuff around and bounce around. And today was like, I'm just going to, until they go to team and 9-on-7 and whatever, I'm literally just going to follow defensive line coach Jeff Scanina and Mazi and the defensive line group. And I will tell you this, I bet it's a conscious decision because they're invested in Mazi's success and they want him to succeed. He is not performing as the best or second best nose tackle here, but he's still running with the ones every time. I do think if you had to power rank him, 7th round pick Justin Rogers is probably the best nose here. Carl Davis is probably second, and then him. But Scanina is on his butt. When they're doing their little drills where one guy goes 3 or 4 times at once, it's like Mazi goes first. And he's stopping him in between, and he's trying to coach him up, and he's coaching him hard.
It's like it's the hands of sometimes Mazi's hands will go outside, and Sagina is telling him like, listen, we do these drills pre-practice. We get over on the bags, we extend, we lunge, and everything is up. Everything's up, hands inside up, not on the outside. And they're having trouble. Mazi's having trouble with the balance, getting both feet down, and then also the hand placement stuff. And he's more than strong enough. I mean, you could see the strength, but like I said, there's times where he does not, he gets caught up on a block, and it's just hard for him to get away from that.
And he's like, I think it's very intentional, or it seems very intentional, that's the guy that your D-line coach is spending the most time with after literally every rep. And he is not like, Scanina's going to coach you hard. It's not, you're okay, buddy, everything's great. It's, hey, you should be out here before practice. This is how we warm up. This is what I want with your hands. This is what and then like Justin Rogers goes after Mazi, and it's, hell yeah, Raji, great rep. And then Carl Davis goes, that's how we do it. And then Mazi's back up, and it's coaching his ass again. So like, he's going to get coached up until he either breaks or they figure it out. Like they're on Mazi. I think that he is having a struggle bus of a camp. I think that his body language is a struggle at times. They're coaching him really, really hard because they want it to work, and they're going to be on him until it either works or he goes, F this. So that was my Mazi stuff.
Yeah. And I think you've got him right. And, the last couple of days, you're right. Jeff Sagina, the line coach, and this is something Mike Zimmer was talking about the other day with us. He's like, listen, this guy's, he's crazy. I mean, crazy in a good way that, he loves football. He's passionate about his job. And here we are. But he is going to coach Mazi as hard as he can. And now it's about up to Mazi. You see Rodgers, rookie comes in, he's picking up what he's asking him to do. It's a lot about your attitude, your demeanor. And right now, Mazi seems just very, very low. He seems very, very low when it comes to being able to, kind of take in everything and then make it work.
I want to address a couple people in the comments. Very expensive dynamic mic. Crazy to use a condenser mic that way. So I brought my whole setup out here to camp so that we could sneak this in as soon as practice was over. And my mic stand is right here, but I couldn't find the actual, it's over there somewhere, I think. And we were in a hurry. So I'm just going to hold a $600 mic and we're not going to worry about it. Okay, guys? How about that? So yeah, that's defensive tackle. And I would say it's worth noting, like, Justin Rodgers has something. Like number 96 has got something. You're looking at a big body dude that does know the things that they're trying to get Mazi. And it's crazy because he's a 7th round rookie. Mazi's been here longer, but I don't mean to make it about Mazi. Like Justin Rodgers, well, there's power in them hands, and he knows how to let go, get off of a block. Like he's got a little something.
Yeah, that's the thing about it is but you mentioned this from the jump. There is going to be they're going to have to look at defensive tackles at one. Like I say, it probably, if you think that Rodgers can do it, I mean, we'll see. We've got more practices. We've got more preseason games and stuff like that. The way it currently is right now, I don't think you could play with Mazi Smith as your one technique and feel really, really, really good about that.
Scott in the chat said, I thought Mazi was looking better. Was today that bad? I don't think Mazi has looked good at all yet. I hope that it gets better. They're on him. They're coaching him hard. They're trying to get him there. But yeah, defensive tackle is a little bit of a struggle bus for this team, and they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do, or Osa's going to have to play every snap, and Justin Rodgers and Carl Davis are going to have to play a bunch of snaps and be better than Carl Davis has been in his career, and Rodgers would be as surprised as a 7th rounder jumping in there. We got work to do at that spot. Outside of that, let's do Trey Lance real quick, just because I put it in the title. Today was their first red zone day, and we'll get to some of the red zone stuff. Offense had a good day, I think. Trey Lance threw a couple of different picks today, 1 in 9 on 7, 1 in 11 on 11, where it looked like he just didn't see a defender. First one was a deep out where he threw it to a linebacker that was buzzing out underneath there like he never saw him. Second one was from the 5-yard line coming right at us, and he never saw Marquise Bell standing in front of him. So Trey Lance had an iffy day and then started to turn it around in the last thing they did, which was 2-minute. And he made some really nice throws. Then they got down to the 5-yard line. They had 6 seconds left. And I looked at Brian. I'm like, all right, you got 2 shots at this. And he's like, yeah, unless you hold the ball for too long and then throw an incompletion, which is what he did to end the day. He took 6 seconds and threw it away as it hit 0. Trey Lance, struggle bus day. Is that how it has been throughout camp, or where are you with Trey?
I think that there was a side of me that really believed that Trey Lance might be a gamer, and he still might be. I just, when I made the comment to you about with 6 seconds left on the clock, I go, the last thing he can't do is hold the ball the whole entire 6 seconds. And he did. And so that's something that they could coach. You mentioned the Bell interception that was going in, on the, right into the tight red zone area. And, I don't think he saw Bell at all. I mean, Bell was, I go, who was he throwing to there? And we were all looking for the receiver, but it's been a little bit of a struggle for him when he's had to throw the ball outside the numbers. And today there were some better passes that went outside the number. But then there's that time where you get going and maybe it's a little bit of a crunch time situation. And that turns into that, I've got to move, I got to find space, and then he forces some balls in there. So I thought he was a little bit better throwing the ball to the outside today. I don't think he particularly saw the interceptions he had. I don't think he saw the defenders when the interceptions happened.
And then what else did I put in the title? Today was red zone day. So I will tell you that when the first team red zone happened, quick touchdown to Brandon Cooks, touchdown on a Rico run, which again, interior defensive line, touchdown, Dak to shout out to David Durden being out there with the ones, back to back to back plays, 3 tutties. So I thought that the first team offense and a lot of the stuff today, red zone, 2-minute, they scored with 10 or 15 seconds left on a Turpin touchdown down the middle. First team offense, I thought looked pretty good today. And
how'd you like the bogus holding call though on 4th down to get him that could have been a defensive stop right there, right?
Bones Fossil likes to make sure that the drills have a climax to them. So like even before that, what was the drill before that? I noticed the same thing. They did the mojo moment and it was a best of 5 2-point conversions. First team scored, second team got stopped. First team got stopped. Second team ran a handoff up the middle that was clearly stopped, but he was like, and they scored because he wanted it to get to the 5th rep. And so he lied. And Jordan Lewis might not have held. I thought he held. I'm a receiver though. I thought he held. I thought it was a good call. And then we threw a touchdown. Then we threw a touchdown to Turpin down the seam.
I kind of had the score 4-1 defense is what I had.
Yeah, that was 4-1 defense for sure. For sure. So unless you want to take it a different direction, I will mention, because it was Turpin that scored the touchdown. Yeah. Watching these wide receivers is interesting because so many of these different names that a lot of people aren't familiar with, like a different guy shows up and makes a few plays every day. But the 2 days in pads, the guy that I have seen, he did have one drop yesterday that could have been a huge play. But the guy that brings something that nobody else does, and he is running when it's Cooks, Tolbert, Turpin a lot with the first team. And it should be, because I think Cavante Turpin just brings something that these other dudes don't have. And he's making plays out here. And I hope that they just let that dude play. Even when CeeDee Lamb gets here, I hope he gets some Tolbert snaps. Like Cavante Turpin brings stuff other people don't, and they need to let that dude play offense.
Yeah, you could clearly see the explosiveness of the player, whether it's the jet sweeps, straight toss, out of the backfield. They're trying to find ways to get him involved. But you saw last year he had some production down in the red zone. For a small guy, you would think that maybe he would get a little lost down there, but he didn't. So I agree with you. When the ball gets in his hands, he's clearly making things happen. And I can only see that they're going to continue to do things with him. They were doing that with Vaughn, and Mike McCarthy said today in the press conference of trying to double train some guys with Vaughn. Vaughn was over with Diggs on the cords today, so we didn't get to see anything of him. And it was a veteran day too. You might ask, where was Kendricks? Yeah. Where was Martin? Those guys. I noticed a couple of the veteran guys weren't practicing today. So if you're going through the clips, I'll tell you, I was super impressed with Damone Clark. There were a couple of times where they tried to run the toss or the crack toss, where they bring the motion in and then crack and then run the ball to the edge. And Damone Clark both times was just, you see his number 18, just like a blur, getting to the outside, fighting off blocks and stuff and getting to where the ball needed to be. So him, and also too, it's funny, Leofau, there was one time where Damone Clark was in there with Leofau, and Leofau's telling Damone Clark what to do, kind of like, okay, hey, yeah, he's pointing out stuff like that. And that's what we all kind of feel like that Damone Clark's going to need. He needs a little help along the way, but boy, that son of a gun can run when he has to.
Yeah, I think Damone Clark was jumping out at me yesterday. Like I was coming out here looking for Overshone and Leofau, because you always cheer for the youngest guys. And it was Damone Clark, who I wasn't really high on. And out here, I think he looks really good when Mike McCarthy he was asked about it yesterday at his presser, and somebody asked about Damone Clark, is it better when he's kind of freed up to just play and not be the guy in the middle? And he was like, oh, I wouldn't say that, but I do think that that's what's happening. He looks like, I don't know. He's making plays out here, and he wasn't the guy I was coming out here looking for it at linebacker, but he's the guy that is doing it. So then we move onward. I put pluses by names that caught my eye today. Shout out to Brandon Cooks. I apologize. Like, he didn't do anything yesterday. He's been kind of a quiet camp. Today, he made a bunch of plays. Today, he was like, oh, yeah, he is a quality number 2 receiver. He made a bunch of plays, which shouldn't be surprising. Ferg showed up today and made plays. The one guy that I do want to shout out that I think that I am really, really high on, and I hope they let him play with the ones a little bit, is Wanye Thomas, number 30, who every time he got a chance last year made plays. Once again today, when they love running their slot guys kind of up and on either a shallow flag or a deep out, and it looks open, and then Wanye Thomas shows up. That dude can cover with some range. He makes plays every day. I'd like to see him get some cracks with the ones, and I know that means that somebody else is out, whatever. Not that Donovan Wilson has been poor, but Wanye Thomas keeps catching my eye, and I like that dude, and I think he's got something for him.
Yeah, he absolutely does. And, the thing with, and we had the opportunity again to talk with Mike Zimmer, and he's like, he's working on things, so you're like going, oh, so I was kind of cheerleading, just like you were for Wanye Thomas. And then I kind of thought, okay, but Mike really likes Wilson a lot. And so if you're talking about maybe going to getting somebody's reps, and Wilson made a couple of plays today that, and I'll tell you what, our boy Carson too, from Wake Forest got in a scuffling match with Span Ford, the tight end from Michigan. So a couple of rookies were going at it pretty good down there in the red zone area. But it's good to see, like I say, that this secondary and this linebacker group, I think is got the right mix of guys. We keep talking about that defensive tackle area, though. That's where, and that's with watching Guyton today, it wasn't so much all Guyton today. I was watching Steele a little bit, and there was a time where Micah Parsons got him on an inside move, and because people were asking, what about Steele? What about Steele? I think Steele was fine for the most part, but there was that one time where Micah just like, okay, I've got to get this defense off the field, and he took advantage of Steele, and Steele just couldn't step inside fast enough to cut him off from getting to the ball, but able to get the pressure right there on Dak. And then it was like an incomplete pass, but that's kind of what Mike has been able to do. I mean, Guyton did a pretty decent job against him yesterday, but today Mike Zimmer shifted him to the opposite side and went the rush. Chuma Doga was back at practice today. He's dealing with back tightness, and so that's kind of something that he's fighting through. But he was running with the ones, but Guyton, BB, those guys got a lot of work as well today.
Question, is Trayvon running with the ones, and does he look normal as explosive? Trayvon's not back in practices yet. I know he's cleared and he's out there, but he was out there working resistance cords, and like he's running, he's getting geared up and getting ready to get back in practice, but he's not back in there yet. Like he was doing running against the cord while picking off a ball. Trayvon's out there working, but he's not back in yet.
Yeah, you're exactly right. While they were going through the 2-minute drill, my eyes were over on the other field, and Diggs was over there, and he was working with the strength coaches on actual football plays, drive on the ball, break on the ball, knock the ball down. When it goes from Britt Brown to actually start working on football plays or defensive plays, then he should be back here very, very soon.
Is there another person that I need to shout out to Eric Scott, the corner, because when he was drafted, I was like, meh. And then everything I saw last year, I was like, meh. Shout out today, though. Eric Scott, I was watching the DB one-on-ones and then some of the team stuff, and number 37 made plays. So, Eric Scott, you get your flowers when you do good things. Shout out to you. Nashawn Wright's been all right. Like, to your point, I think the defensive back group, even without Diggs out here, it's just a really good group.
Yeah, McQuamu had some trouble today, though. They carried him on a crossing route. He was trying to he thought he had some safety help inside. I think it might have been Redwine. That was Sheldrick Redwine that was supposed to maybe give him a little help, and he was kind of clapping his hands. He's talking about me when it's my see a clapper at defensive back, it's like I can't play. But there was a couple of times that they went after McQuamu and they were able to get some completions. So Wright has done a really nice job. Bland had a really nice play down on the goal line as well. When they were going in the mojo moment, the 2-point play. I think it was one of the first passes that he was able to knock away. So, good for him. He continues to impress me the way. And like I said, the whole secondary, I think it's found ways to show up at different times and make plays.
Jalen Brooks made a nice play today, contested catching team. Kelvin Harmon, number 84, made some plays. Scooney made a big play down the seam on the 2-minute drill with the second team from Trey Lance. A bunch of random guys made a bunch of plays. Fantastic coverage of camp guys from Joel Reeves. Thanks so much. Thoughts on Overshown? I don't know. You tell me, because he wasn't in in the 11-on-11 when they had 3 backers. And then the very next play he ran on, but Damian Wilson was out there, and he ain't going to be starting for this team. So I don't know. They're moving guys in and out, but Overshown, what I've seen so far looks good. Looks like a continuation of last year, and I think the dude can play, and they've got a good linebacker room, or at least an interesting young linebacker room.
Yeah, I think your assessment of the linebacker room, I think if you start to talk about the strengths of this defense, the linebackers, which last year was probably a little bit of a liability just because of health, and they decided that they were going to go short and they were going to play with dime packages the whole day. And so now I kind of feel like that is a legitimate looking group when you look at how with Clark and Louisville and Kendricks and all those guys. I mean, that is a good looking group of linebackers and Overshown is a part of that. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Mike Zimmer, with the loss of Sam Williams, maybe figures out some things for Overshown as a pass rusher. Maybe some packages, putting him off the edge. That's some of the stuff we've seen from him at Texas. They kind of found out a way to kind of get Micah Parsons going that way. Maybe they could do the same thing with Overshown.
And they need a 4th edge guy with Sam Williams hurt. And the guy, I've been kind of putting eyes on that today too. And I think Tyrus Wheat is probably the most likely name. We're number 91. Like, he looks decent. There's some plays that dude's making, and I think he's a name to know. And if Overshown isn't getting moved out there, I do think that old Tyrus Wheat has something.
Yeah, and Nealon's involved too. They're trying to find a spot then on the left side, right side, and
that's edge 3, right? Yeah. So, and then number 4, surely someone's going to make the team, and maybe it is Overshown taking those snaps, or maybe it is Wheat or some other guy on the roster. And somebody said, is Nealon taking reps at edge or 3 tech? He's playing the edge unless it's like rush the passer NASCAR time, then he'll line up inside Parsons a little bit. But that's what I got. Any note in your head you want to fire out there? We'll be back. We'll be back again because we have to talk to our buddy Voch Lombardi. Make sure you're following him. Make sure you're listening to Brian on 105.3 The Fan. Is there any other note that you feel like you have to get out right now?
No, I felt like I could say that it was very, very like the competitive period. They went a little long today because tomorrow is mock game, and we all know what mock game is. That's basically a walkthrough tomorrow. So they're going to give them. So they went a little bit longer today. Like to see the 2-minute stuff the way it worked out. I thought the defense at the end able to hold their own down there. I really like that. That's kind of a disadvantage drill for them a little bit, but. They were able to like I say, Trey Lance, throwing the football, I think it was a little bit better today. I just didn't like the decision on that final play, man. You can't let that be the last play of the game. And unfortunately he did. Hopefully they'll learn from it. But like I say, defensive backs, some young wide receivers, they're trying to run the football a little bit more. I think McCarthy, if I could say something real quick, Jeff, I know I never say anything real quick. But I think McCarthy's trying to bring a little toughness to this team. And when they're going to some drills earlier where maybe they wouldn't have done 1-on-1, maybe they wouldn't have done 9-on-7, maybe they wouldn't have done competitive 2-point mojo moment plays. I think Mike McCarthy's trying to build a little toughness with his team. And I'm all here for it.
I think it helps their confidence because they're going against defensive tackles that can't stop the run. We'll figure it out as we go. All right, everybody, catch us later. Make sure you please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, leave a message or a comment for the algorithm. The comment will be, who do you want us to have eyes on tomorrow? There you go. Put that in the comments or else. Make sure that you're tuned in to everything that Brian does. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Turn on the notifications so you know when it goes live. And we should be back with our buddy Voch Lombardi this evening with more thoughts and parties. Remember, you have no idea what anyone's going through. So be cool, everyone. We love you. Be easy. Brian, say something really witty and funny.
Have fun. Peace.
Okay. See you guys.